Hey, what's going on guys, Ace here, and today we are going to try something different. In fact, I don't think I have ever done this before, where I am simply going to rant about the current state of Blue Lock. You see, before, even though I had my issues with certain things or how the writer handled some characters or moments, it never reached this boiling point. It never made me feel as if the arc is going to be ruined. However, the state with this game is very curious. You see, it started perfectly. As you all know, up to this point I really loved the PXG game, because even before its start, this game had hype, it had stakes, characters, dynamics, and even rivalries. Truly, it had everything going for it. And to my joy, the writer actually started it perfectly, with one of, if not the most explosive start to any game in Blue Lock, with both teams seeming evenly matched, going at each other with such tenacity that it got us hooked in. And this carried on with the first 3 goals. You see, both Shido and Isiki scored amazing goals, but also what I think the writer did right is actually building up from the previous games. And to be honest, this is something that he excels at. Much like how Metavision was OP in the Manshine City game, it really was the main star of the show in the Ubers game. And for this match to start with Shido's goal is really such a genius move. You see, against Uber, the climax of that game was the no eye contact goal, which was actually the opening goal in the PXG game. This immediately puts PXG above Ubers when it comes to difficulty, which is something I really loved. This way the writer could have a hierarchy of teams from easy to hard without relying on a tournament formation, which I'm sure the writer is saving for the World Cups, and so again I really love this. But also with Shido scoring this amazing goal and how easy him and Charles made it look, it really set the tone for this game. This is the highest of levels. And obviously this is true because the undefeated teams when they face each other should only breathe the highest of levels. And then Isigi and Hiyori responding to Shido and Charles with a no eye contact goal of their own was really fitting. And so up to this point I was really enjoying this game. And honestly, I was even calling it the best game in Blue Lock, simply because it really held so much hype. And so as I said, I was really enjoying this game. And guess what? The writer continues with his amazingness as he delivers to us one of the best awakenings in the show. Kaiser going from a cocky emperor to a very rational menace on the field. And of course with some added spice in the form of his backstory that really gave us so much context and explained why Kaiser is the way he is. And for all of that to conclude in that wonderful goal that cannot be replicated by any other player was such an amazing move from the writer, was really such a brilliant writing, and props to the writer. But in fact, it wasn't just the goals or the way we reached them that was impressive, but also the characters and the dynamics they had. Charles and Shido were amazing. Kunigami got his revenge on Shido. Karasu proved that intelligence is really key, as he was one of the most dominant players in the midfield. Rin was amazing, he was everywhere. Even though he failed with Isigi and Kaiser, he still made the most rational choice there. And so everything was perfect. And the kid in me, seeing Rin telling them that he is going to kill both Isigi and Kaiser, was really amazing. It was such a treat that I was at the edge of my seat waiting for what's going to happen next, only for the show to give me the biggest slap on the face. Now, do I love Rin's awakening? Absolutely, I really liked it. However, everything else about this awakening sucked. From the supporting characters, to the goal itself, and to the questionable writing, to be honest. This goal, even though it was hype, it really made no sense, and I definitely hate that. I mean, Nanase, Isigi and Kaiser were amazing, but the rest, I don't know what to tell you guys. First, Hiyori got reduced to ashes. Really, the guy that was a menace in the Ubers game gets handled like a fodder here? Really? What happened to his metavision? What happened to him reading the situation? He seemed to have forgotten or lost it or whatever the case may be. Before, he always built his metavision on top of Isigi's, kinda like we've seen him do at the start of this game. However, with Rin, he completely turned into Yuki, a blind guy, because as you all know, Isigi was able to see what Rin is about to do, yet he could not stop him. I was wishing at least Hiyori would notice this, because he builds his vision on top of Isigi's, but no, he didn't. Instead, he turned into a fodder who does not understand even a simple cross. Like seriously, even though Kaiser was shook, he understood what was happening. I remember people putting Hiyori on the same level as Baro because how much of a menace he was in the Ubers game. I mean, don't get me wrong, don't have him stop Rin, but at least have him press him better, not reduce him to the level of Korona and Raichi. And sure, I mean nothing wrong with Korona and Raichi, but they are nowhere near Hiyori's level. Hell, even when Rin shot, Raichi actually jumped to block the shot, while Hiyori stood there confused as ever. I mean, think about it. Before, we at least could say that Hiyori's vision was on the level of Isagi, Kaiser and Charles. But after this, I don't know, man. Because what Isagi did, he saw what Shido was about to do. He was aiming for that empty spot. Behind Bastard's defense. And of course, Charles is going to aim there too. And guess what? Rin without Metavision understood that. And by the way, actually here he tricked Kaiser. Because Kaiser needed to stay on him, he was not able to see that. However, there is really no excuse for Hiyori. Because Hiyori himself usually sends passes there. So it's very odd that he didn't see the empty space. And this is so infuriating because the writer keeps doing this. He keeps on nerfing players for the sake of other players, which I really hate. This is what made the last goal against Ubers feel very cheesy, even though Isagi and Hiyori pulled off such an amazing move. Because the writer had to nerf Ubers, especially Lorenzo and Nico, many fans really weren't happy with that goal. And this was carried on to this game with Hiyori being nerfed so badly. I mean, Ness had better showing than Hiyori, right? And to be honest, it's not just Hiyori, think about it. Kunigami got tired? Like, what the hell? Does that mean he has such a shitty stamina? Like, I really do not get it. Sure, he was pulling off some amazing shit. Sure, he was really pushing his body, but come on, the guy that was supposed to copy Noah, the guy that survived the wild card, is tired after marking Shido for the span of 2 goals? Really? I mean, Lorenzo was able to mark Kaiser a whole game, and Kaiser is far more dangerous than Shido. And so what's up with that? I really do not like this. And it's not like it makes sense from Noah's perspective too. The writer couldn't just sub Kunigami without a reason, because he wrote that Noah is a very rational coach, and so he can't sub Kunigami who is dominating Shido without a real reason. And so what we ended up getting is this half-assed excuse. And then we jump to Corona. So you tell me, the guy that got in after 2 goals is tired already? Like, what the hell is even that? If that's the case, Corona shouldn't really play at that point. And man, this is so infuriating to me because I really loved Kunigami's performance in this game, and I really loved that Noah subbed Corona in, and then we got a slap from the author with this joke of writing. And I know I'm critiquing the writer of my favorite show, but it is specifically because Blue Lock is my favorite show that I take it a little bit too seriously. I mean, he wrote amazing stuff, don't get me wrong, but I'm just critiquing here. I really do not like the way he handled these last few chapters, especially with nerfing Hiyori, man. But of course, we gotta talk about Ren here, as he was the main actor of this last goal. Now, as I said, when it comes to hype, when it comes to the Berserker state in itself, I really love the way the writer handled it, especially with Isagi, who is very rational, not understanding anything. And the goal itself, him clashing with Isagi, really fits with the Berserker state, and so I loved it again. And here you might be asking yourself, if that's the case, why are you ranting about it? What didn't I like about this goal? Well, I'm confused at what the Berserker state exactly is, because this is very different from the U20 game. In the U20 game, Rin threw everything completely, including both Isagi and Sai, and he only was focused on scoring and destroying his opponents. Something that I really loved, because Rin was pushed enough that his deep ego re-emerged, that his destroyer self reawakened. And in this game, we actually got an explanation to what the Destroyer does. We actually understood how Rin is able to counter almost every player by doing what I call counter-rationality. You see, players like Baro or Kaiser are unpredictable. However, it's not like they are doing irrational stuff. In fact, they are very rational. It's just they are thinking of rational routes that no one else can see. However, when it comes to Rin, he actually counters rationality. And this is why Isagi had such a hard time stopping him. And honestly, this part is great too. However, the trigger for this state is what confused me. So in order for Rin to get in the Berserker state, it is stated that his ego has to re-emerge. He has to be pushed enough for his inner self to say enough. However, if that's the case, how could he have entered that state in the Manshine City game? I mean, surely an unmotivated Nagi can't push Rin to that extent. And it's not like Shido has scored before and so Rin felt the pressure. It was all Rin, and we see the Berserker aura, and this honestly got me confused. What the hell is going on here? Because if Rin had to be pushed, who would even push him in Manshine? He can very easily deal with both Nagi and Chiguri, and after we've seen what Baro did to Manshine's defense, I think Rin would have no issue with them. And so how did he enter this state? And honestly, this is not the only thing that doesn't make sense about the Berserker state. Back to my statement when I said Rin threw everything. Here, he seemed to be confused. Why would he care about what Sai thinks if he threw everything? Unless of course the writer actually changed what the Berserker state is all about. And to that I would say, what the hell is going on really? I mean, I mean the Rin we've seen in the U20 game would have shot that the Rin we've seen in the U20 game would have taken that shot and scored in a heartbeat, because simply put, Berserker Rin threw away even Sai. However, here he seems to have trauma with Sai, and he sees him in every turn. In the U20 game, Rin stated this: "I am free," and now he is being shackled in the same state? Like seriously, I'm trying to understand and it makes no sense. And it doesn't really stop here either. Think about it, if Rin is in the Berserker state, why would he need to clash with Isigi for him to score? I mean, the Rin we've seen before simply shot against Aiko and Shido, and so it made no sense here. Why did he stop and not shoot until he saw Isigi? And you could say that the writer explained it in his backstory. And to that I would say that was a shitty backstory, I'm not going to lie with you guys. Rin loves destruction that also hurts himself. That was the premise. However, this was never explored before. At least with Kaiser there were hints at his awakening. For example, him being afraid and him dodging Lorenzo and Prince. Then only for him to realize that he is holding himself back from reaching his full potential. This made total sense. However, with Rin, what the hell is going on? If your premise is to throw everything away, why would you need Isigi or the fact that you need to clash with him to score? And so this made no sense at all. What made sense actually is Igagori joining. I'm just kidding guys. And on that funny note, I think I should wrap up my rant. I just wanted to really express how I felt about the last few chapters. If any one of you guys want to rant about anything that's happened in this game, or if you think the writer is doing a great job, don't forget to comment why and explain your point. However, with that, I think this is enough for one video. And so I really hope you enjoyed my little rant, and until next time, thank you for watching.